Greetings, dogs. I am Dr. Victor Von Boom, and I command you to listen to this, the final episode of
Data and Doctor Doom. Data and Doctor Doom. My name is MJ Hibbett. Hello. Thanks for listening to my show, which will tell you everything you'll ever need to know about Data and Doctor Doom. Data and Doctor Doom. Last time we told the tale of two Dennises, showed that long-term memories about the gist, and approached the problem of geniuses in Data and Doctor Doom. Data and Doctor Doom. So now it's time to talk about what it means, and how we can use these methodologies, and then maybe try to flog a few books and zines about Data and Doctor Doom. Hello, my name's MJ Hibbett, and you're listening to Data and Doctor Doom, the podcast about data and also Doctor Doom. Last time, we looked at some of the differences between what people thought they knew about Doctor Doom and what was actually in the text, according to the unified catalogue of transmedia character components, which, despite all my best efforts, people are already calling the Hibbett methodology. It showed that what we remember isn't always what actually happened, and that we all retcon our own past as we go along. For instance, textual authors such as inkers, letterers and colourists get erased from our memories in favour of other people like writers and artists. We then started to look at why that happens, and asked whether it's just because those people aren't as important, which led to an exciting cliffhanger, asking whether creativity is purely the work of special geniuses working alone, or whether there's more to it than that. I think this question particularly matters when we're looking at commercial art, where groups of professional people come together to make art as part of their job, for instance with a TV show or a movie, or indeed a mainstream superhero comic. Clearly, these are team efforts, but for some reason a lot of people insist that we should credit them to just one individual. For instance, in the world of film studies there's an idea called auteur theory, which says that we should consider a film as the work of one special genius, rather than something made by hundreds or even thousands of people working together. In auteur theory, this special genius is usually the film's director, and it was first proposed by people like Francois Truffaut, a film director. Now, is it me, or does someone developing a whole field of critical theory in order to make themselves feel important sound like something Dr. Doom would do?
Stand aside, adults. Only Truffaut can author this cinematic presentation. Sorcerer, transform von Truffaut. Unleash the Truffaubots.
When it was first put forward, there was some pushback on this idea, mostly from people who thought that actually it was the screenwriter who was a special genius, although this was mostly said by screenwriters. And the reason these sort of ideas get traction is that for centuries we've been told that art can only be created by individual special geniuses who are unconcerned about financial gain. This is because for centuries our society has been run by very rich and privileged people who have the time to make art without having to worry about paying the rent, and who think the little people who help them do it don't count. So when we talk about art created by groups working together, it often gets dismissed as art by committee. Now, I think this partly gets said because some people have never been on a committee and don't know how they work, so let me explain. On any committee you'll always have one person who is the leader, the chair, who directs things but isn't necessarily the driving force for getting stuff done. That's the next person on any committee who's super keen and slightly annoying, but who makes sure things happen. However, you then need a third person who's a bit more cynical, who questions some of their crazier ideas. And then finally, every committee needs someone who's always there but doesn't seem to actually do anything. But then if they're not there, it doesn't work at all. So that's a leader, a keen person, a cynic, and some unknowable other. Or, to put it another way, John, Paul, George and Ringo, the greatest committee of all time. Yeah, and if you're wondering if I've done this entire podcast just so I can finally get that bit in, well, I couldn't possibly comment.
Great news, pop pickers. The soundtrack album, Data and Dr. Doom, is now available to stream and download from all your favourite music platforms, or directly from the artist at dataanddrdoom.com. Includes all your favourite songs, such as Like Batman But Better,
He's like Batman but better, he's Bruce Wayne rectified.
The Where, What, How and Who, Dr. Doom,
This is the where, what, how and who of Dr. Doom.
The Marvel Age,
The Marvel Age is thus arranged from November 1961 to October
Many Hearts,
by many hearts. And
Fuzzy Trace Theory,
Fuzzy Trace Theory.
and many, many more. Stream or download now. Doom commands it.
Now, we could argue that the whole point of auteur theory was to allow us to think about film as a proper art form, i.e. one made by special individual geniuses. And also to avoid having to think about commercial artworks in that way because they get made by working people on committees. Commercial artworks, like comics. Why don't we talk about comics in the same way that we do books? We don't dismiss all books because some of them aren't good. Books can be both fiction or non-fiction. Comics can also handle the distinction. Two things that they both have in common are both are formats, neither is a genre. Comics are made by lone authors. Comics are read by connoisseurs. Are these reasons adequate and ample? Let's have a look at another example. Why don't we talk about comics in the same way that we do plays? They both combine the textual and visual in interesting ways. Plays are made by multiple creators, authors, actors, stage crew and directors. Comics also come from a collective, writers, artists, colourers and letterers. Theatre's high and comics are low. Why that is I do not know. Here's a thought that might be controversial. Could it be the comics are commercial? Why don't we talk about comics in the same way that we do films? Both can be incredibly popular or have an audience of nil. Comics are the same as all of these media, so why then are they deemed inferior? If it's not to do with the medium, could it be the people who are reading them? Art's expensive, art's not cheap. Art must be kept out of reach. Art's exclusive, art is posh. Art's not for the great unwashed. Why shouldn't I sit in first class when I've got the same money as you? Why shouldn't I use some long words just because I went to a state school? I learned everything from comics. I can understand an image with text. So we're going to talk about comics and then maybe society next. To conclude, here's my demand that the cultural canon must expand. Include comics in the roll call, just don't call them graphic novels. Why don't we talk about comics? Let's talk about comics. So let's do exactly that. Let's talk about comics in a robust, evidence-led way, as free as we can get from personal bias, and, if possible, using a unified catalogue of transmedia character components, which some people, entirely against my will, are calling the Hibbett methodology. And if we do that, there's a lot to talk about. So far, we've discussed how this sort of methodology can correct inaccuracies, highlight social assumptions,
and help us to develop new theories about how fictional worlds work. But there's so much more it can do, which I hope other people will use it for. But as we're in the final episode, I thought I'd focus on how it can check and develop theories. Because whenever I talk about this in public, some people get a bit annoyed because they think I'm trying to get rid of the need for human ideas and theories and reduce everything to a bunch of numbers, which is not what it's about at all. Evidence-led research like this does the opposite. It actively helps to uncover new ideas, gives evidence for theories, and allows us to check whether what we think we know is actually true. And I'd like to demonstrate that now by applying this whole methodology to a theory I've believed in for a very long time, concerning the 1980s limited series Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars.
My friend Sanjeev Bali and me back in 1984 had a disagreement about Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. He said it was dead good, I contended it's a load of old tripe, and now over 40 years later I'm gonna prove that I was right. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, I'm gonna demonstrate that. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars is crap. We're gonna use a big five inventory, a way to measure personality traits, and apply it to the sample of text for Dr. Doom across the Marvel age. You answer a series of questions, and the results are mathematically paired, so you can analyse it longitudinally to see if there's anything there. In Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, I'm gonna demonstrate that. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars is crap. So, the Big Five in the Big Five inventory has owners for experience as the first division, then conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness and neuroticism. The first four dimensions are coherent as we move across the Marvel age, but something happens to neuroticism. When we get to the final stage, it's all over the shop, as you can very clearly see. Using a measure I don't have time to mention right now that's called the MAD. Just take my word for it. What it shows is something happens to do with personality as the Marvel age comes to a close. Yes, it's during consolidation, but its coherence is suddenly lost. 25 years consistency appears to have somehow gone, and it's in one specific series where this happens and happens so much that it skews the results of everything, and it happens quite simply because Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, and this is an empirical fact. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars is crap. So if you're listening, Sanjeev, you might have taken me for decades, but I have proved that I was right. In your face. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, I've demonstrated that. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars is crap. That's a fact.
And if you'd like to know more about all of this in excruciating detail, including some graphs, you can find it in my book, Data and Dr. Doom, which is still very much available. Hopefully, what all this shows is that we can use empirical evidence to test theories, provide evidence for existing theories, and then to generate new theories based on what we uncover. And I think that's one of the main things I've wanted to say over the course of these 5 episodes, that using evidence like this not only helps us to understand the worlds around us, both real and fictional, but also stands as a beacon of truth in a world that is more and more dominated by people who think that having great power means no responsibility. And so, I'd like to close with a summary of everything we discussed over the course of this series, beginning with the one single fact, above all else, that I hope you'll take away with you. And that is,
I'm like Sanjeev but better. I'm Bali rectified. He's been disproved, but I'm telling you, he didn't seem to mind actually. He was alright about it. I saw him last year. We had quite a nice chat about the whole thing. But that's not really the only thing I'd like you to take away. So if you will indulge me, I've a few more things to say. About the way the catalogue could be used for more than this. And why today I'd say we need empirical analysis. So stand by for a medley as I summarise my views. First let us consider uses beyond Doctor Doom. Imagine if we could compare Doctor Doom to someone like Dan Dare, or Desperate Dan to Donald Duck in a comic or a book, or a futuristic form of software. And if datasets are properly shared, these comparisons can happen anywhere. Any character you like over media and time can be empirically compared using my unified catalogue of transmedia character components. It's a methodology that you've named after me, so I hope that you will condone it as a way to analyse how they are modified as they move across media and time with a transmedia character catalogue of components that's unified and is empirical. You've heard it for yourself, and here is the good bit: it works everywhere else. Decisions based on evidence, not some idea, and common sense removes the political, the biased and the mythical, and should be beneficial for all. At least that's the idea, but you might say I am a dreamer. I hope you'll join me one day, because if we don't stand up for truth, then we're on the way to Latveria. Because the fictional thing about Doctor Doom is that he's a dictator who wants to make the world better for me and you, not just Latveria. The irony of it all is that this 2D character is more three-dimensional than the baddies and the villains that we all know, who are sadly non-fictional. They don't even try to hide it anymore. There doesn't seem to be a secret to these secret wars, which really is the main point that I've been reaching for. We need facts we can count on today more than ever before. So let's all be superheroes and fight the dolts and fools, because the truth is important and it's also cool. So if BBC or CNN or ITV need a hero they can count on me for Doctor Doom information and data explanation. Thanks very much for listening. You have been listening to Data and Doctor Doom. Data and Doctor Doom. That was the finale, this is the end. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if so then I'd appreciate it if you could tell your friends about Data and Doctor Doom.
Well done, you snivelling whelps. You have successfully reached the conclusion of this episode and this series of Data and Doctor Doom. If your need for Doom is yet to be completely sated, you may access further thoughts, datasets, publications, zines, and soundtrack albums at dataanddrdoom.com. But whatever you do not forget to like, subscribe. Doom commands it.